Also some names that I have not seen before. I'm Ed Jameson. I am the CEO for Operation Kindness, which is a nonprofit brick and mortar just north of the city of Dallas. Just had my 1 year anniversary here just the other week. This is my first time around on the nonprofit side of things. I have 20 years on the government sheltering side of things. Prior to coming over here, I was a director for Dallas Animal Services from 2017 into 2021. And before that, in Northeast Ohio, I was the city chief animal control officer for the city of Cleveland, and then a small suburb before that's where I got my start in the early 2000s. These calls, again, not seeing many of you for a while, just getting into this new role, always fundraising in this new role, running a shelter, that is, that kind of is what it is. But yeah, the fundraising part of it, definitely you don't ever get a break and you have to continue going on that. But it's nice to see so many people from Texas in particular on this call. I guess that what gets me excited coming off the back of our first in-person national conference last week at HSUS. It was a great time. It was awesome to see so many people face to face, but really everybody just is already swamped. We're just now kicking off busy season, and it seems as if it's been busy season for the last couple of months already. So through being worried and the hustle and bustle, it excites me that we're going to come together to keep working hard and to keep finding alternatives to keep the good momentum that we've really had over the last so many years. And for those who don't know, with Operation Kindness, we really had not been on the national scene. We were real well known here in North Texas, but really outside of that, we weren't super well known. If you think of the work that Awesome Pets Alive does, everybody knows, well, man, mostly sick animals get sent there, harder to place animals. That is what we're trying to do here in North Texas. So anybody who's sending treatable sick animals down to Austin, especially if you're north of Waco, we say you should call us first. And then agencies that just didn't have an option for certain animals that could be treated, to make sure they check with us. And that's the gap that we're trying to jump in. This upcoming year, we are trying to get into the community services role a lot more. So we got some big plans on trying to get our services out there. And it's so awesome to hear that Jordan Craig is going to be speaking today, because it's going to be a really cool partnership. Us trying to work where things that they're lacking in and don't have the resources for, that we're heavier on, and things that we don't have the resources for. So we're trying to connect some dots and show what a real partnership can look like when you're simply trying to get the work done.
Yeah, and shout out to Melissa Weber from Dallas Animal Services here as well. So we have a true Dallas collaboration going on. And speaking of Texas, I'm going to go ahead and get this meeting kicked off, since my amazing co-host is also from Texas. But good morning, everyone. It is 11:01 a.m. Eastern Standard Time where I am today in Washington, D.C. My name is Bobby Mann. I'm the Chief Programs Officer at Humane Rescue Alliance. So excited to be co-hosting this call with Ashley Rodriguez and the rest of the Maddie's family today. So Ashley, I'm going to toss it over to you. Please introduce yourself, the organization you're with, and what's getting you excited about animal welfare before we even get it kicked off with the question of the day.
Well, hello, everybody. My name is Ashley Rodriguez. I am with Bryan Animal Services with the city of Bryan in Texas. We are the sister city to College Station, just down the road from Texas A&M University. I've been in the industry for about 15 years. I started my career in the Rio Grande Valley. I'm originally from Brownsville, Texas. I found my love for government animal sheltering in particular. I've been with the city of Bryan going on almost 5 years now. I've been sitting in the seat as a supervisor for the last 2. I am both over animal control and our impoundment/adoption facility. Our biggest goal here for me is to kind of turn around the idea of animal control officers. We are not just the dog catchers. I have 4 officers that run the field for the entire city of Bryan, and we are here to help the community. And I think that is just kind of our biggest plea, is to get everybody away from that notion of, we're not dog catchers and things of that nature. As far as about what I'm excited for, over here in the city of Bryan, we're really trying to turn over. We're doing free spay neuters for all of our citizens of Bryan. So we offer about 200 every year, which has turned out to be really great. And we're also doing a lot of free rabies and microchip events throughout the year. This last event, we topped the most vaccinations and microchips that we've done, which over 400, which is great for our little city. So hopefully we can continue the momentum.
I love it. Ashley, do you want to get us kicked off with our question of the day for the group?
Sure. So the question of the day is going to be, what is everyone's favorite season of the year and why? Mine in particular is the fall. I love the fall here in Texas. It's kind of all over the place. I don't know that we really have seasons in Texas sometimes, but I love the fall time for us. What's everybody else's?
Yeah, and as we give folks a moment to drop those in the chat, Ed, I'd love to pick on you again, because I know, with the work that you were doing at Dallas Animal Services and being a part of the NACA board, National Animal Control Association board, what are your thoughts on just what Ashley mentioned about just the perception of animal control officers?
Yeah, I think that we're making great strides on professionalizing the industry, showing people that we're so much more than animal control officers. And I think that this coming out of, or I guess if we say coming out of COVID, the opportunity is now most government policymakers understand the work of helping people now. Be it through the, what's happened in the police world over the last couple of years, realizing, man, you just can't arrest your way out of problems, that you have to come up with solution-based answers. So I think that the time is right now to be proactive in trying new things that can still accomplish the goals that those policymakers have. And it takes leaders like you all to make sure your people know that you support them. Yes, you do have to pick up animals as a part of the call, but you're so much more than just somebody with a catch pole or a snare that's able to load a dog on the truck, that you are trying to solve human problems. The animals are just a conduit in that piece.
And I gotta pick on my dear friend Melissa Weber as well, really leading the charge in field services in Dallas. What are your thoughts on this conversation, Melissa?
I think it's really important, and we want to make sure with our field officers, kind of what Ed was saying too, that we not only have the professionalism, but we really work to come alongside and help folks get into compliance and not into enforcement. I mean, we need to enforce if we need to, but really coming alongside and offering the services necessary to get people into compliance and help from there.
I love it. Ashley, I'm going to come back to you to maybe pick on some of these folks in the chat and some of these answers. My personal favorite right now is from my friend Jess Roper, who has been sort of climately inclusive by saying that she loves all the seasons. That's a great PR answer. I love it.
Let's see, Christine Colvin, it looks like you're kind of interested in that transitional moment between summer and fall. Explain.
Okay, well, I'll go on camera too, because how dare I? And I don't be like Jess, right? That's what I said last time. I'm like, be like Jess, be on camera, and here I am. I don't know. I like it when you kind of get that hint of, like, all of a sudden you get a little moment of crisp air. Like it's a beautiful day, and then fall's coming around the corner, and then all of a sudden you get that first breeze of, oh wait, that was fall coming in. Yeah, I like those little. Those are my favorite times of year. There's that moment between spring and summer that's the same, where it's like it's starting to get warm, and all of a sudden there's like that one hot day. You're like, summer's here. Yes, I like those transitional little in between moments that I guess get you excited for what's about to come.
And since we have you on camera and you're channeling your inner Jess, would you mind giving a promotion of the previous presentation that you just did? And we'll put a link in the chat for folks that missed it.
I would be thrilled to. So on April 11th, a couple weeks ago, Jess Roper and we are from Best Friends. We did a presentation about bringing people in and finding creative ways to bring your supporters, your community, your volunteers into your organization, finding ways to include them. And we also discussed being Spark champions, identifying not only your why, but finding and noticing the whys of others who support you, and finding ways to support that why so they can basically give their best to you and help you achieve your organization's missions. So that was what we did. Yeah, again, April 11th was the call. And so would love to have you watch the recording, and please reach out to Jess or I if you ever have any questions or ideas or want to share a joke. I don't know. But we love connecting with people.
I love it. And the amazing Amber already has that link dropped in the chat, folks. If you're excited about it, please watch it. And I just want to give a shout out to a special face that I just saw pop up on the screen that has always embraced my why, which is Jamie Case. It's so good to see your face and I appreciate you. And Ashley, let's pick on one more person and then we're going to go into our opening conversation.
Well, Alexander, let me pick on you since you're also new to this call. What's your favorite season?
Me, Alexander?
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. Sorry. Favorite season is fall. It's been my favorite ever since I was a little kid. Similar to what she was saying, that first breeze that rolls through and like the season is here. You've got your baked goods, all your fun holidays, candies. Fall is like the jam. So
Alex, you take me as a pumpkin spice latte sort of guy.
I am. I love that. It's amazing.
PSL for life, my friend.
PSL King.
I love it. Okay, well, thank you all so much for being here. Ashley, thank you for helping us really get this day kicked off. I know most of our Mondays are filled with motivation from the amazing Mary Smith. And as you all know, she's been out for a little bit dealing with some family things. And so what she has done is put out an amazing call to action by so many other folks that inspire us in animal welfare, Ed Jamison being one of them. But we also have the amazing Dr. Jyoti Robertson that is here to share a couple words of wisdom and some resources that we think might be great to kick off our week with. So over to you, Jyoti.
Thank you, Bobby. It's great to be here today. This question of the day is a perfect segue into two of the points that I wanted to talk about before I make a small announcement. So I am reflecting on everything that happened last week. And one of the events of last week is actually Earth Day. And wanted to just acknowledge that in animal welfare that we have opportunities to reduce our impact, our global impact on the world. Hello, Peter. I see hey, Jyoti in the chat there. So I'm curious to know, what are different activities or thoughts that your organizations have done to try to reduce your impact? If it's reducing the use of single plastics, maybe going to a beach cleanup, if there's things that you can share with others, I'd be interested to see that in the chat. And along those lines, I was not physically at HSUS Expo last week. I wish I could have gone, but I did go to the virtual event. And I really want to highlight one talk that I heard that I thought was fabulous, which is Ana Cabrera. She's the executive director of the Philippine Animal Welfare Society, PAWS. And she spoke in the HSI track, so Humane Society International track, about the PAWS Fetch and Fix program. And the reason I'm bringing that up along with Earth Day is because the Philippines has been very impacted by the climate change and the increase in temperature of the oceans, impacting everything from hurricanes to rising seawater temperatures that have led to them not having the same resources that they've had in the past. And so in this Fetch and Fix program, what Ana and others in the Philippines have been doing is working with people who are experiencing homelessness and their pets. And Mary usually says a quote or two that are pretty amazing from, things that she's heard. So I was thinking about what Ana put out there as two main points that she made. One is that if we're working with communities, building trust is really the way to start working with communities and those people who are experiencing homelessness. And the way that she's done this is by first talking about their animals and really building the trust through that communication. And the second thing that she says is that by helping people who help animals, you have a multiplier effect, which is unparalleled in achieving our goal as animal welfare. So what does it look like for us to reinvent and think about the ways that we can impact the people who are helping animals? And she does this by creating beautiful videos, which is why I want you to go and take a look. I'm going to post in the chat her link. She has these incredible videos which show what the spay neuter process is, the lives and the impacts that people have had and that her organization has had. And really, those videos have transformed the way that people are now coming to the organization. So Bobby, being a person who's a marketer and someone who creates beautiful videos yourself, I think there's a lot to be said for what does it look like to message back out to the people that you're serving. So that is one thing that I've been thinking about in addition to Earth Day. And then I have a separate announcement, which is sort of involved again with how we view the globe and our impact on animals and society. And these past 5 years, I've been working on a personal passion project called The Journey You Own, looking at kind of the interrelationship between the environment, environmental crisis, social justice, and spiritual awareness, really our grounding practices, like what keeps us connected to the work we do so that we can be the people we want to be in the mission-driven work that we're doing. So I have decided, I'm going to have to go into my other location to put this link out. I have been practicing meditation for a while now, and I'm a student of meditation. And I've decided to open up once a month a Zoom link for anybody who wants to join me in a sitting practice. This is like a contemplative practice where we could sit together. There'll be a 15-minute guided meditation, and then we can share what really grounds us, what are the practices that have made a difference in our lives, what does it look like to connect spiritually with our animals and with our societies in different ways, and kind of keep ourselves resilient and strong together in community. So that is the side announcement that I wanted to make. Bobby, thoughts, questions?
I'm just always in love with all the things that you do. My one ask was going to be the jyo.world website. Okay, it's already there. Look at Amber on top of it. I think it's amazing. I think you inspire me to really focus on all of my wellness and to try to center myself in a world that is so fast, and remind me that, even outside of my work, life can be crazy and chaotic. And if we want to be the best version of ourselves to provide the best level of service to not only the pets, but the people in our community, it does take work. And so, Jyoti, I mean, can you talk a little bit more just about sort of what you think this journey might look like? And also just where did you make the sort of transition from just the medical veterinary consulting that you were doing, and I shouldn't use the word just, but into broadening this to the journey you own? Like, when did that conversation happen in your head? All of the things.
So I grew up in a traditional Hindu Buddhist household where my mom has been teaching meditation to people since I was born. And so that's where it came from, was actually from my childhood and from my parents. And I kept that distinct and separate from my work. My work was very science-based. It's very statistics-based and numbers-based and data-driven. And I think as I was consulting, I realized that I was separating these two parts of my life, and I wasn't being really authentic in who I am. And that by bringing myself and bringing this component, it would actually help others in animal welfare, because we're all so passionate about the work we do, and we feel so strongly, like our compassion or our empathy for the animals that we work with, that it can be really overwhelming, right? Like, we've experienced trauma in our lives in different ways with the animals that we work with. And what I started to notice is that when I spoke one-on-one about some of the work that I do, and sorry for my puppy who's here, when I speak one-on-one with some of the people that I work with, that they were really drawn to my talking about grounding practices. What does it look like to center ourselves in our work, to align our missions, our personal missions, with those missions of our organizations? What does it look like to create space in our world? And yes, Sharon, that's Katara. That's my puppy Katara in the background. So what does it look like to really create that ability to have space? So that's what led me to start thinking about the journey you own. And then I brought in education reform, environmental climate change issues, because I custom school my 3 kids. I have 3 children, 16, 12, and 6. And I've put them through a custom schooling program, which is homeschooling, basically, because I want them to be more aware of society. And so we started, an organization called Air Star Oceans, and do a lot with climate change. And I had been keeping that separate from my animal welfare work. So what does it look like to bring it all together? So that's what this is about. And I'm a student of meditation. I started about 5 years ago. I think I took my Buddhist vows now 4 years ago. And so I would love to find a community to practice with and to learn different grounding practices.
Ashley, I'd love to pull you into this conversation and just get your thoughts on all of this.
I think it's something that we don't all really think about overall. I know a lot of us in this industry work hard 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, because unfortunately we don't sleep. Our jobs are 365 days a year. We're always working and worrying about the animals and the people that are affected by the jobs that we do on a daily basis. So I think it's something that would really help everybody kind of hone in on, not only self-care, but, the better you are yourself, the better work you can do for your communities and everybody else.
Ed, you have thoughts?
I think Ashley put it right. It's many of us on this call, we do as I say, not as I do. And we're really big on trying to have our team take care of themselves. And we put a lot of focus on, we certainly see the importance. We're really in trouble if person X, Y, or Z, doesn't take care of themselves and isn't able to be there. But then we don't necessarily do it ourselves. So, whatever it is that's able to help you to kind of unplug and find things outside of this work, because it is never ending. It's going to be a long time before we're not needed. But yeah, if we don't take care of ourselves, then we're not helping on the big picture.
Thanks so much, Ed. Jyoti, did you want to go back into the chat as well? I know you had posed that question early on about what folks are doing to support the environment.
Yes. Do you mean post it again in the chat?
Oh, no. If you want to call on anyone or highlight any of the thoughts that people wrote in there.
Oh, sorry, I hadn't even gone back. This is great. Yes, I would love to do that. Elizabeth became vegan and drives an electric car. That's fabulous. I wonder if Jessie, let's see, it's Jessie Sullivan can talk a little bit about more the reduction of paper and things that they've been doing, and if also Kim might be interested in speaking about that as well.
Sure, thank you. Yeah, I had just mentioned that we had moved to digital adoption processing. Really a shout out to Shelter Love, which is the database that we use that makes it super easy. We have an adoption program manager who is very motivated and supportive of this, and we're able to track how many we're processing digitally, and we're above 90% at this point. And all of our adoption packets can be included in Shelter Love digitally, and they also have a great system for collecting additional donations too. So certainly if you use Shelter Love, I encourage you to check it out. It's been a great paper saver for us.
Great. And I think Kim also put something in the, yep, hi Kim.
Yeah, so I come from human services, and the nonprofit I started back in the day is about green and community partnerships, helping children and families. So I came from that mindset. They already had a lot of good things going here. There's a really neat organization in St. Louis called Remains, and Jamie probably knows about them too. But they basically take all kinds of textiles and find different purposes for recycling. So we have an actual sort of hut or a shed behind our building where so people bring us all kinds of things that we can't use, books and all kinds of stuff. So we put them in the shed, and then they come and get them once a month. And then we also do some pretty, like we do can recycling separate from other textiles. And then the cloud is a big one, as the other person was saying, that trying to get everything as green as we can and in the cloud, and only printing when we have to, whether it's marketing or adoption or whatever department, trying to do mostly all of our business in the cloud.
That's great. Thank you. Bobby, back to you.
Jyoti, thank you so much. I am so excited to be joining you during that guided meditation as well. I'm a little nervous. I feel like I'm always moving so quickly that I'm a little nervous, as I said, to kind of join, but I really appreciate how even in the description of your Zoom link, you've broken down what every 15 minutes could potentially look like, and that's already building my confidence up.
Yeah, Bobby, let me just tell you that it's not anything to be nervous about. Like you can come as you want. You can turn your videos off. You can take your names off of your screens. It's however you feel comfortable. And the idea is to set a 15-minute intention in the beginning, 15 minutes of guided, and then 15 minutes of sort of sharing our experiences for those of us that want to share. And then close out with about 15 minutes of sharing what we do in our lives. And to offer that space once a month for anybody who wants to join me. I mean, I'll be there no matter what. So I'd love to see some other folks there.
Well, it only takes two to make it a meeting. So Jyoti, already considered a meeting with you and I, and thank you for meeting me where I am and really making me feel a lot more comfortable about that. So that is a national opportunity for folks. And I feel like that's a perfect transition into opening up this call for national updates for anybody else.
Hey, good morning, everyone. It's the other Amber with Maddie's Fund, and happy Monday. And just wanted to remind you all that we are having our Community Conversations grant giveaway. And just by being on this call or watching it on demand, you have the chance to win a grant from Maddie's Fund. So I'm going to go ahead and pop the link to sign up in the chat. And we'd love for you to hop on that link and sign up and have a chance to win. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Amber.
Hi, everyone. It's Kim from Maddie's Fund. Hi, Bobby. Just wanted to remind you that April is our foster resource drive in Maddie's Pet Forum. We have collected over 100 foster resources so far, including 28 foster manuals. So I will include a couple of links in the chat. One will be the post where you can share your own foster resources, and the other will be the foster resource library folder. Please check them out. There's all kinds of things for you to bogart off of. No need to recreate the wheel. And also when you go into the library folder, make sure you look because there are separate folders for the manual so you can find them easily. So thanks. I'll put those links in the chat.
Thanks so much, Kim.
Welcome.
Hi, it's Jamie from the Human Animal Support Services Project. First of all, I'm so excited to be here. I don't usually get to join these calls, and so I'm excited to see Bobby's face this morning and all of the rest of you. I just wanted to plug again our job likes. They are just going like crazy, and people just are absolutely loving them. They're peer groups for you and your staff based on the line of work that you're doing. Just to connect with other people across the country that are doing the same work. So we hope to see you there.
Thanks, Jamie. All right, last call. All right, well, Ashley, before I toss it over to you, I cannot agree more with Jamie Case. If there's one extra hour you have in your week or any of your staff have, the first stop, I believe, should be these peer groups. It is so amazing to not only have an opportunity to learn some of the cool, innovative things that people are doing in specific jobs, but it's such an amazing place for people to realize that they're not alone in this work. For example, in the customer service class or peer group that I was in, just having people from all over the country see that the problems that they deal with or the solutions they're trying to find are not unique to their organization. Tracy, I saw you nodding your head. Do you want to give it a quick shout out too? Are you enjoying the peer groups?
Me?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I absolutely love the peer groups. I'm part of the job alikes. I'm part of behavior and assisted rehoming. And I've even joined a few that are not actually my field, but just to have a listen and see what's going on in other areas. But I think every single one I've learned something I've come away with a little bit of a treat that I hadn't thought of, that somebody else has already thought of with their rescue. And yeah, I love them. I think they're great. And like you said, sometimes you think you're alone. I mean, I'm all the way here in Africa. So, I think we're dealing with things in our own way. Meanwhile, you guys are dealing with some very similar issues. And it's a great way of sharing each other's knowledge. I love them.
Thank you so much, Tracy. All right, Ashley, I'm going to come over to you to introduce our amazing speaker for the day.
All right, guys, I get to the wonderful pleasure of introducing our speaker today, who is Jordan Craig. She is the Executive Director of the Spay Neuter Network. Her organization services the Dallas-Fort Worth area and surrounding counties. She's going to tell us a little bit about all her programs that they've been working on to eliminate pet overpopulation, through spay and neuter and increase the access to pet care and decrease all pet surrenders in the area through innovation and collaboration. Over to you, Jordan.
Hi, everybody. Share my screen real quick. Can everybody see it?
Yes.
All right. So thank you so much for the introduction. I have been now in the Dallas area for 4 years. I've been in sheltering and for the last decade plus. I came up here to join the wonderful Ed Jameson. I had spent my prior 8 years in the Austin area working for the municipal shelter there, and really was excited by all the cool things that were happening up in Dallas and wanted to be a part of the change that they were looking to make. And when I came to the Dallas area and worked at Dallas Animal Services, one of the partnerships that really stood out to me was Spay Neuter Network. It might seem just like, hey, it's another Spay Neuter clinic, but Spay Neuter Network is one of those organizations that finds a way to say yes, finds a way to get things done and to really help the community and make an impact. So when the former executive director, Bonnie Hill, reached out to me and said, we are looking for someone new to take the helm when I retire, I stepped up and said, yes, this is something I want to be a part of. It's something that I look at as really being able to support the Dallas-Fort Worth area and expand our reach. Like Ed said earlier, it's all about collaboration. It's all about all of us fitting in and doing our piece so that we can help the community as a whole. And Dallas Animal Services, Operation Kindness, all the other wonderful organizations in our area are doing some really exciting things to try to make lives better for people and pets. So we've been founded since 2004, and that's when the amazing Bonnie Hill moved out to Kaufman, Texas. It's southeast of Dallas. And when they moved onto their property, they found a mom and 10 puppies that had been left behind. And she said, what are these animals doing here and what do I do with them? And the answer was, you keep them. There was no resources. There was nothing. There was nowhere to take them. There was nowhere to get them fixed, nowhere to get them vaccinated. So she invested her time in trying to figure out, how can I help this community who seems so under-resourced? And there's people, she talked to all her neighbors. They said, it's just something, it's a part of life out there. So she started with 2 days a week, having mobile clinics that got animals fixed and vaccinated. And from there, it's grown to an organization that has 3 stationary clinics, a fleet of mobile transport, and also a mobile clinic. So we try to expand our reach the best we can. One of the most important things for Spay Neuter Network is to be located in areas where there are not other services, where there are resource deserts, and where people do not have access to spay and neuter. So you can see on this map, we're in southeast corner of Fort Worth, southeast in Dallas, and then we're over here in Kaufman County in Crandall, Texas, near where she founded the organization. And since that founding, we've done more than 300,000 spay and neuters and more than 400,000 vaccinations. Our mission is to eliminate pet overpopulation through spay and neuter while empowering communities to care responsibly for cats and dogs, with the vision to create compassionate communities free of homeless pets. We do this by helping people and pets. We really want to meet them where they are. We know that a lot of these people just simply haven't had the opportunity. It's getting harder and harder to find vet care these days, and we want to make sure we make it as accessible as possible so that people aren't losing the bond with their animal because of preventable things. So we do this with free and low-cost surgery. We are, again, it's all about collaboration. It's all about partnership. We, for the last 5 years, have been working with local funders as well as the SPCA of Texas to get as many animals in South Dallas fixed. It's through the Let's Fix This campaign. And we've had more through Spay Neuter Network, more than 26,000 dogs fixed through that program. And it is free spay and neuters if you live in those 23 zip codes, as well as vaccinations, a microchip, and really making sure that animals in that area are set up for success to improve the loose dog problem that was going on in Dallas. And one of the biggest things, if you've heard Ed talk about before, is it is not a loose, like there's not this packs of dogs that are unowned. It's loose owned dogs that are getting out because they're not fixed and they don't have adequate structures to keep them in. So we really wanted to prioritize that and had a lot of success with that over the last 5 years. We were approached by a funding group in Fort Worth in late 2018 saying, how can we do the same thing in Fort Worth? We have a big need here too. How can we meet the people where they are and get animals fixed? And so the Saving Hope Foundation worked with us to set up a clinic in Fort Worth in 2019. And it has been incredibly successful at reaching people there. It started with free surgeries for everyone in the community of Fort Worth. And then late last year, it switched to that same model where the 15 highest need zip codes, people can come in and get surgery, microchip, and vaccinations for free to really get ahead of that and help those communities. We also know it's not just about spay and neuter. That is huge, but we've got to make sure these animals are vaccinated year over year. Here in Texas, we see a lot of disease, and we need to make sure people understand that we're the place they can come back, they can get their boosters, they can visit us annually, and we can really set them up for success by continuing to be that resource. And it's been incredible to have the support of Petco Foundation as well as Maddie's Fund to really be able to expand these processes and these programs. And we've been partnering with Operation Kindness and Dallas Animal Services to expand that reach because, again, we know we can't do it all alone. There's a vet shortage. So Operation Kindness loans us a vet. We work with Dallas Animal Service team to help us get our bigger numbers and to get more people in. And it's working together to improve lives for our communities. We've also have an exciting new program that we started to support pet owners who are experiencing homelessness and provide free services for them to make sure that while they're going through those hard times, the last thing they have to think about is how they're going to pay to get their animal on heartworm prevention, how they're going to worry about getting them spayed and neutered or vaccinated, and really meeting them where they are. And we're working with the local organizations to really help get those people and animals to a better place and to get them housed, and that make sure that housing is not a barrier because their animal's not vaccinated or fixed. One of the coolest programs that we have, to me at least, is the transport program. So while we locate ourselves in these veterinary deserts, DFW is a big place and it can take you an hour just to get across town. The traffic is terrible. So we set up every day. We've got different transports that go out around the Metroplex as well as outside of the Metroplex and reaching 15 counties and 35 cities to make sure people have access to the services we can provide. And this is something that we've been doing 7,000 transports annually. And we're wanting to continue to grow because as we look to expand our reach and support more people in Texas, we know that we're going to have to go to them and utilize the minimal vet support that we have in our local clinics. So how can we help them? It's by going to them and picking their animals up and bringing them back. We also, community cats is a passion of mine. I probably wouldn't have joined Spay Neuter Network if it wasn't a passion of theirs as well. I wanted to make sure that I could go to a place that really wants to make a difference in helping the cats in the DFW area. And Spay Neuter Network is committed to making sure that if you find an animal in Dallas, that you can take it directly to one of our clinics and get it fixed for free so that you don't have to have the animal going through and sitting at the shelter, and that we can make sure that animals are fixed as conveniently as possible and get them back out there. It really is a partnership with the community, with Dallas Animal Services, with the local trappers, and with our local funders to make sure these animals get support. And we've done more than 23,000 spay neuter surgeries for community cats, really focusing on it the last couple of years, and we're looking to do another 3,000 this year. One of our newest programs is the Pet Support and Resource Center. We started this back in 2020, and it was supposed to start at the end of the year, but lo and behold, the pandemic happened. And Dallas Animal Services said, help, we need help. And at that time, I was on that side of things. And Spay Neuter Network stepped up and said, we will take all of your surrender calls. We will help see if we can connect them with resources. We will see if we can connect them with other partners around the community. Because again, it's a network. It is not just one organization that has everything. We know everybody plays a different piece. And if we can all focus on those different pieces, we can set our community up for better success. So since we started that, we've had more than 5,000 calls, been able to keep 900 pets with their family, 700 pets rehomed, and 100 pets connected with rescues and not have to pass through the shelter, but go directly to those foster homes with the rescue partners. And sometimes it's really simple things. The lab that's in this picture, Juanita, she had recently been adopted and they were looking to return her because the landlord was worried she was going to grow too big. She was still kind of a puppy. All we did was help connect her with the vet who gave them a statement that let them know that she was going to grow maybe another 10 pounds, but was going to stay within the weight range, and they canceled their appointment. So some of these things are really simple conversations and really simple support, but they make such a difference that Juanita didn't have to be another animal going back through the shelter, confused why she's there, when there was a family that absolutely loved her, but got scared by their landlord and just had a conversation that improved everything. Eleanor is a little bit more difficult as the husky, and we had one of our partners, Dallas Pets Alive, support her with some behavior training to keep her in her home, and she is doing incredibly well. And again, it's just really finding those small things that really add up to get these animals to stay with their families. Looking forward, we are so excited. We've got a new strategic plan, and we really want to continue our work here in North Texas, but also expand, take our transports further, take our mobile clinics further, and help. We know that Texas is a big place, but there's a lot of people that need help. And so we're wanting to expand that care and our reach across Texas. We also want to share what learnings we have found and help others. Nobody needs to start from scratch. We are all experts in different things, and we can all work together to teach each other and to kind of have these different packages, and we can share our learnings. And then also, we're really looking to build a training program for high quality, high volume surgeries, both for vet techs and vets. We know that we have a vet shortage. We also seem to have a vet tech shortage, and getting people in and help.
Jordan, I think you might have froze up on us. Did she freeze up on anyone else? I think her presentation was so amazing that she broke Zoom. I think that's exactly what happened. Well, Ed,
Hey, Bobby, I can jump in a little bit on what she had said. That call center was such a big deal. Anybody knows anything about Dallas? And when I got there, I was hired to fix the loose dog crisis. So we didn't have any options as far as we had to deal with loose dogs. And so this is long before Haas and the things that COVID brought in, that, any type of managed intake just wasn't even, you couldn't even talk about it in Dallas. So we would have Mondays in particular just seemed to be the huge front door intake day. And just lines that look like an amusement park of bringing animals in to surrender. So the idea, I knew I didn't have the bandwidth to try to triage all of those calls. And after asking a couple of partners in the area to no avail, ended up calling Bonnie at Spay Neuter Network, who was always my yes person. And she said, yes, we're interested. We don't have any funding whatsoever, but this sounds like it could be a good thing. And so if we could slow down those on the front door, that had huge impacts to that great 2019 into 2020 that we had, was that we weren't the first line of defense on when people were showing up at the door, and anybody who had gone through 311 to have those calls triaged that way. So it took a lot of partnership. The city didn't have the funding and the mechanisms to get that, but to be able to push that over into their realm. And even if the animal still needed to come in, at least we had tons of information and we could be expecting that animal coming in. So it was that is huge. And anybody who's able to take a little component of that for your community, you'll get huge returns on it.
Thanks, Ed.
Sorry,
Jordan,
internet issues.
no worries. Did you have a few more slides for us? Ed was basically just singing your graces while you were gone. So
My next slide, I think, is the questions, unless I got cut up earlier, but that's fine. If anyone has questions, I also put my contact info in the chat.
So I have all the questions, but also I think it's amazing to see that really the three leaders of the Dallas-Fort Worth area are on this call together. And a lot of my conversations align with collaboration. And so, I mean, Melissa, I'd love to come to you as well in this conversation about just, having a partner that has that much capacity for support. How has that shifted even the way that you are managing your budget for animal services, knowing that you have a partner like this that can help with a lot of these access to care conversations that a lot of other shelters are trying to build into their own capacity?
Spay Neuter network is vital for us, and having Jordan over there has been really fantastic. We're working on actually expanding our MOU so that we can do even more services together and collaborate even more. Working on, I know that under Jordan, they've expanded their community cat programming, and so we're working there, and just the numbers on helping on that surrender prevention, because like Ed said, we don't have the time to have all those conversations, and our calls often come through 311. So it's so much better if Jordan's team is having those conversations with the community rather than 311, because they have the knowledge about animal welfare and how to provide resources. So,
yeah, I love that. And Jordan, I'd love to come back with you. I would love for you to touch on the question about vet techs, but prior to that, I also really have a question about the data collection. You've been someone who I've always looked up to as far as just your investment in data and figuring out how to collect it. So how are you tracking all of this? How many calls you're getting, how you're tracking how these pets are being rehomed? Can you dive into that a little bit?
Absolutely. So our companion case management database has been up and running now since January. It was a partnership with Dallas Pets Alive and Dubert and Spay Neuter Network to make sure that we aren't just manually tracking all of this information on spreadsheets, and that we really have what we need to understand, what is the current condition and how can we then add resources to appropriate areas to improve things. And it's been so exciting to be able to actually look at cases. Before, the 311 calls would come directly over, but we had cases where you could have 5 animals in one case and 1 in another, and it would just look at it as calls. And now we can really look at individual animals, because maybe we can help 2 of the 3 animals in the home find another place, but we'd still need to have that other one come in through the shelter. And letting all of this kind of work seamlessly, minimize the number of times we have to collect the same information from the owner, because that's tiresome. Really trying to streamline things with Dallas Animal Services to improve that. And I know Chris from Dubert's working with me on a lot of different reporting to make sure that we have some functionality to do what I want to customize, but also has some out of the box options to ensure that any user can pull the data they need. Dubert's been incredible to work with on this project.
That's amazing. Yeah, shout out to Chris Roy. He's like so amazing. So also there was a question about just the vet tech training program that y'all are implementing. Could you touch on that?
It is in very beginning stages, but we are looking at expanding and building kind of a school where people can come and get additional certifications and really get training with our experience. We know when we bring in new people, we expect them to have, you're a vet tech, you should know how to do this, but they don't. And to give them a place where they can come in and learn with high volume and grow from our vets and from our current vet tech staff and make us more of a teaching organization. And really, we see this as a way to increase the number of people we can help in the community, because obviously the more hands we have in there helping and learning, the more we can do, and really building a sustainable future for this DFW area by making sure that we have trained individuals ready because we have such a high need for surgery and wellness here.
I feel like Jordan Craig used to do all the extra credit in school because she's doing all of the things. I know there's a question from Michelle. Michelle has their hand up. So let's go to Michelle, and then Ashley, I'd love to come back to you for your thoughts after as well. Or maybe Michelle accidentally had their hand up. So Ashley, I'll come over to you.
Yeah, so Jordan, I just had a quick question overall, for those of us who are in the government shelters, I know Ed's been there, Melissa's there, how do we get our higher ups to kind of embrace something like this without panicking of all the MOUs and contracts and everything that need to go in place with agencies like us, for instance?
it takes baby steps. Start somewhere, find one area that you're really struggling with and ask. A lot of the MOUs that we got going when Ed first came on to Dallas Animal Services, we've pivoted, we've adjusted, and we've all just kind of worked together to fit those biggest needs that we have in the community. But you need to look at, where is your plate the most full, and where does someone else have something that they could help with, like the call center. We already had a call center that was taking phone calls for appointments. So it was a natural fit that, hey, this team of people that are animal experts can take some of these calls off of DAS's plate and help. Where, with Spay Neuter Network also doing the community cat surgeries, it's a place that we're passionate about. Our vets love taking a break and doing some cat surgeries instead of doing dogs all day. So it's an area that we can really kind of carry a load so that somebody else can carry something else, and we can really make an impact. So if any of your organizations are interested in kind of how this works, how we all talk to each other, I'm sure all of us are happy to chat with them.
Yeah. And I can say that, every government is a little bit different, but most actually care about data. Warm and fuzzy only gets you so far through City Hall. In Dallas, it is a big machine as far as getting things through council. However, they do like MOUs. They like that there's formal agreements. And then when there's data attached to that, report back data attached back to that, it's Dallas never pushed back when we were able to say, here, they're going to report back to however. And then we knew we were going to get good numbers out of this. We knew that it was going to help keep a decent amount of animals responsibly from having to come to the shelter. So it was really easy if you have that one contact at City Hall that at least will listen to you. And once more than, hey, do you want to see pictures of my dog or cat in my phone? And you actually want to talk about, what's the result going to be? When you can attach that there's reporting coming back from that. And that was really one of the hardest things. Like Jordan said, they had the capability to take phone calls. They knew they were going to have to beef it up to handle the volume. But how were they going to record all this? Much more than I talked to so many people. That's where it started with. Yes, we talked to so many people in a super high level outcome. It was really important for them to keep digging in so that they can get more data as to what's the real impact. And most governments like impact because they like to be able to tell their constituents. They'll take credit for it, which is fine. You have to yield that away in government world. Sure, council person X, Y, or Z, this was your great idea. But to show that they're using the tax dollars properly and have numbers to support that.
Yeah, impact. So, yes, we have all of these amazing, cool CEOs on this call, Melissa, Ed, Jordan, but where impact really matters to me is also how the staff at these organizations feel. Marlo, I see you on this call with Dallas Animal Services. I'd love to get your thoughts. Like, what do these partnerships mean for you working within the organization?
Honestly, and I've worked for other organizations in the area, I just could not be prouder of the Dallas community. I know that if I need something, even just like on a smaller scale, I can reach out to somebody from another org and they'll help me, or vice versa. We're really, really, really tight out here in Dallas. Like, we all have different specialties and stuff, but I'm just really proud of how easy it is. Thanks to the hard work of people like Ed and Jordan and Melissa, putting in all that really hard work to make sure we're working together and making sure that we do have that line of communication open, because it wasn't like an easy thing to start with, but now it is, and it's great.
I love it. Would you mind sharing with folks what you do for DAS?
I'm the interim public information coordinator. So social media, marketing, all that stuff.
And how has it been for you about how you're really communicating with the public about this collaboration?
So we're definitely trying to step up, spreading the word about different clinics and stuff that we're having. We try to communicate, whether it's TCAP, which is another organization that provides low-cost Spay Neuter Network, SBC of Texas. There's so many different organizations that will send us their information when they're having clinics or free stuff, and we try to all share each other's content so that we are getting the word out to as many people about services, especially the free and low cost ones, because the more we can boost that, the more people we can touch and pets we can help.
I love it. Thank you. Jordan, let's come back to you. Any other closing thoughts or anything that you want to share that you think would be important for folks?
I think the biggest thing for me is looking for a way to say yes, finding a way. It's been a hard couple of years. Our staff, everybody is tired, but really finding a way, again, not having any one organization do it all, finding who is best at what, really focusing on what you are good at and supporting and looking for opportunities. Just because it was hard on us, it was just as hard as all the residents in your community. So really looking at ways we can support. And I'm so excited as we look forward to the future here in the DFW area to continue to help people and pets.
I love it so much. Jordan, thank you. Ashley, did you have any sort of closing thoughts on these conversations for the day? And I also just wanted to personally thank you for helping co-facilitate this call with me today.
No, thank you so much, Bobby, for having me. I think, Jordan, what you're doing is awesome. It's great to have people on this call like Ed and Melissa. I am very young in the industry. I'm only 32 years old. So it's really great to see everybody and their collaboration and everything that's going on. I think for us overall, sorry about that, my phone's going off. If anything that we could help overall, to, as a government agency to help the community, it puts us in a better light. I think for us overall, we're still known as the bad guys and things like that in the industry, and it kind of hurts, my staff's heart and things like that. So having us be able to open up to these organizations to help us out, to help us do the job that we're also trying to do, I also think it helps everything overall. And these calls are just amazing to be around everybody and to get all that insight and things like that for somebody like myself who's young, to kind of take back to my leaders and say, hey, this is what everybody else is doing. We need to try to do more to help the community.
Well, I cannot agree with you more. Again, Jordan, thank you. Ed, Melissa, thank you all for being here and really inspiring us to what regional and community partnerships can look like. I'm going to toss it over to Jyoti to close us out and send us into our.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, everybody. I know communication was the theme. So what does it look like to expand that to communication globally, communication community, communication at the individual level? And I think that looks like deep listening. So what does it look like for all of us to go out into the world this week, create a little space around ourselves to be able to really listen to each other and go with action from that listening? So thank you, everybody.
Have a good week, everyone.
Fabulous week.